If you've been reading any significant number of Marvel or DC comics over the past decade, you've probably noticed that almost every character has been outed as gay, transgender, or some other sexual identity. In many cases, the character might have been gender swapped or race swapped as well. Jawbreakers creator Richard C. Meyer described this phenomenon as Marvel and DC Comics being the comic book equivalent of a gay bar. Let's get into what he had to say here. He published a video recently on his YouTube channel discussing DC Comics' Hawkgirl #2 and said he was unable to finish it because he assumed Hawkgirl was probably going to be gay or trans or non-binary. The writer's trans and everyone in the book is gay. Everyone's gay. Like every single character is gay. Indeed, you see these characters here. They appear to be gay to me. So I think he's probably pretty right there. He went on and said, I was talking to a friend and he's like, okay, once you see the writer Jadzia Axelrod, but he said complaining about every character in Hawkgirl being gay is like going into a gay bar and complaining about all of the gay people. And I was like, yeah, DC, Marvel, they're comic book equivalent of a gay bar. If you go there on purpose, you don't really have anything to complain about. A little later on, he added, like, what am I supposed to say? Hey, there's gay people at the gay bar. Hey, the female character written by Jadzia Axelrod is no longer interested in men and all of her peers are gay and all gay relationships are presented as idyllic. So I actually do have an issue with what Meyer says. I think he's totally right making that observation. I think anyone has observed that. I mean, you've seen what they've done with Tim Drake. You've seen what they've done with Jonathan Kent. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. They've insinuated that Wolverine is in some kind of romance with Cyclops and Jean Grey. There's just so many to list. They're even taking like obscure characters, like the guy that Tim Drake is gay with. He was not gay. They made him gay in order to do the whole gay Tim Drake storyline. But I do disagree with this idea that you don't have any room to complain because this is now what Marvel and DC happens to be. I think that's absolutely ridiculous because this isn't something that is, as he says here, as idyllic. It isn't. It's not. It's unnatural. It goes against the way that God created us. They're trying to normalize this behavior. They're trying to indoctrinate people into this ideology. They're doing it not just in comic books. It's in movies. It's in television. It's on social media. It's being pushed by the government. We have rainbow flags flying at U.S. embassies. We have them flying at the White House. There's an entire month dedicated to this sin, a sin that cries out to heaven. So I totally disagree with Richard C. Meyer on not complaining about this. We should not just be complaining. We should be actively calling this out for how wrong it is and what they are actually trying to do. And what they are trying to do is they're trying to lead people away from God, and they're specifically trying to target children. Obviously, DC Comics, Marvel Comics were primarily aimed towards a younger audience, towards kids. I think probably now a lot of their stuff is being read by people in their 20s, 30s, and even 40s and 50s, and potentially even older. I'd probably say Gen Y, Gen X, Millennials, Zoomers are probably the people that are reading it. Maybe some Gen Jones, people like that. But those are I think that's probably the primary audience. But these people have made it very clear what their goals are. You've got this San Francisco gay men's choir releasing a song with their lyrics saying, "You think that will corrupt your kids if our agenda goes unchecked? Funny, justice, once you're correct, will convert your children. Happens bit by bit, quietly and subtly, and you will barely notice it. You can keep them from disco, warn about San Francisco, make them wear pleated pants. We don't care. We'll convert your children. We'll make them tolerant and fair. The gay agenda is coming home." So they're very explicit about what they are doing. This is the San Francisco gay men's choir saying this. Disney executive Bob Chapek, while discussing I feel like I say this a lot, is discussing this bill in Florida that was banning the teaching of sexual orientation and gender identity in the state of Florida. He said, we don't want to be involved in this. That was his initial stance, and he explained why. He said, because this struggle is much bigger than any one bill in any one state. I believe the best way for our company to bring about lasting change is through the inspiring content we produce, the welcoming culture we create, and the diverse community organizations we support. There's a reason content is at the top of the list. For nearly a century, our company's stories have opened minds, inspired dreams, shown the world both as it is and how we wish it could be, and now more than ever represent the incredible diversity of our society. We are telling important stories, raising voices, and I believe changing hearts and minds. So he's very clear on what he's trying to do with the content that they're creating. Changing hearts and minds. Trying to lead people to sin. It's wrong. And he goes on and says, I firmly believe that our ability to tell such stories and have them received with open eyes, ears, and hearts would be diminished if our company were to become a political football in any debate. Powerful content that changes hearts and minds only springs from inclusive cultures, which not only attract and retain the best and most diverse talent, but also give those employees the freedom to bring forth ideas that reflect their lives and experiences. We must work together to ensure Disney always remains such a place. I probably disagree with him on this idea that, what does he say here? Powerful content that changes hearts and minds only springs from inclusive cultures. I 100% disagree with that. I think you probably would get more powerful content that would change hearts and minds when they're more homogenous. And I think Bob Chapek admits that too, because he's trying to make everyone homogenous, right? Because he's trying to turn them into a certain way of thinking, right? That's exactly what they're trying to do. They're trying to make everyone think the same, trying to be homogenous rather than this quote unquote inclusive culture. Then we have this. We have LaToya Raveno, executive producer for Disney Television Animation. She admits that there's a not at all secret gay agenda at Disney. She says, in my little pocket of proud family Disney TVA, the showrunners were super welcoming. Meredith Robertson, our leadership over there, has been so welcoming to my not at all secret gay agenda. You don't think that they don't have that at Marvel Comics and DC as well? They clearly do. That's why they're pushing it. It's clearly not secret. It's in every comic book. So Meyer gets it right that DC and Marvel have clearly become a gay bar, but they have no intention of just remaining a gay bar. They want to take over the entire city, and they have made it very clear what those plans are. So people should complain, and they have every right to, but they shouldn't just complain. They should actively stop supporting these companies and this agenda. What DC and Marvel are doing is evil and heinous. Instead, they should find other forms of entertainment that do not try and pollute the mind.